Namaste and welcome to yet another episode of the Influence Academy with myself Anusha. The following conversation is with Mr. Anchal Kumar Shrestha, who has more than a decade experience as a lecturer in the field of IT. He is also currently a lecturer in one of the top universities in Australia. He is also an editor of various books and journals with multiple certifications and awards. A quick mention to our sponsors, Extra Tech and 3B's Education and Migration. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Anchal to our show. How are you, Anchal?
I'm really happy to be here in your program, and namaste to each and everybody who is watching this show. And thank you for inviting me in your program.
Thank you, Anchal. I mean, it's our pleasure to host you as well.
Oh, that's great.
Okay, so let's start our conversation. You have been teaching for over 10 years in the field of IT, and how difficult is it to, cope up with the changing technology?
Actually, your question is really, really interesting in this regard. I feel the technologies have changed a lot since a decade. And in the field of IT, it's all about computer technologies. So the course content of any subjects that is related with IT have enormously changed in this day. And for that, we have to update ourselves by gaining a lot of updates in the field of those particular subjects. And of course, we have to do a lot of research on that as well. So that typically gives you the idea about the changing technologies, and you have to update yourself to sell yourself in the market.
I mean, things certainly are different when you started to teach, now and then.
Of course, because when I started my teaching career back in Nepal, at that time we used markers and whiteboards to teach students how we can do the programming in C, C++, in Java as well. But nowadays we have a lot of different technological advancement we can associate in our teachings. Just for an example, here in Australia we use different technologies like Panoptop, like the lecterns, and a lot of slides. And even we use the video technologies, zooming technologies. These days, due to the COVID-19, we mostly use many form of online learning tech associated with these teachings. And of course, sometime we need to demonstrate some of the concept to the students by using audio visuals. That is the best and effective way. So in this regard, we can say that technological advancement has also brought some changes in higher education systems.
Okay, yeah, that's quite insightful, Anchal.
Yep.
Let's take a tangent toward your personal life. You arrived here in 2013 to study Masters of Information Technology in one of the top universities in Australia. And student life here in Australia is a struggle, as you know, and they start their career doing any job they could find. And I just wanted to ask you, what was the first job that you did here?
Actually, when I came here in Australia back in 2013, to be honest with you, at that time I was quite blind in terms of sourcing the jobs, because 2013 was pretty bad years for me. So at that time I searched whatever kind of job to survive here, but I had a dream to work in my professions. So I started searching those types of roles, and luckily I got one job that is a tutoring jobs in HEC. So when I came here, I started tutoring +2 student here. That was in Bankstown, and another one is in Canleyville. So I started teaching there, and by that time I also got job in Expert Education and Visa Service there as an IT consultant. So I did tutorings and IT consultant job there. And then I was looking for the developer roles here. By that time, in 2014, I got high distinctions in my university, so they have provided me lots of opportunities there to teach the master's students. So my journey begins there to start the lecturer role. So I'm pretty happy right now.
Obviously, the culture must have been different. And what difference did you find in the culture between Nepal and Australia?
there are a lot of difference in culture of teaching, especially I'm talking about the teaching cultures here and in back in Nepal. There are a lot of differences. Most of the people, they think the Australian education is not suitable for the Nepalese student because they came from the different background, meaning always they get supports from their lecturers, whatever things they performed, okay? But here, the way we learn the things is quite different in terms of doing assignment, doing research, and lecturers always try to give them kind of suggestions only. So in the first thing, they think the Australian education is not fit for them, but after I joined the university as the lecturer, at that time I attained many trainings of teachings here, and in that training sessions they talk about why they always motivate students to do their assignments, those kind of things, because they really want to develop the leadership qualities in students. They always try to enhance the learning characteristics of the students. That's why they always try to give you the assignment, and they always try to give you the due dates as well. But the reason for providing the due dates in the university is not about the submission, timely submission of your assignment. That is not the fact. The main fact is how loyal you are with the time. You must acknowledge the importance of the time as well. So that is the features, because I learned those things when I was a lecturer in the first time here in Australia. So those things literally they play with your psychology, okay, and that characteristics, that kind of things will help you in your work. So there are a lot of differences in those teachings back here and in Nepal.
So you were a teacher and lecturer in Nepal, and you chose to, continue that career here as well. So what difference did you find in teaching methodology back in Nepal and here in Australia?
Actually, there are a lot of differences. Point-wise, I can tell you, the way we learn in Nepal is like you are only attempting those exams or attempting those courses to get the high marks or to get some sort of book knowledge, okay, bookish knowledge, we can say like that. But here they prepare you for the job ready programs. Job ready programs means you should be able to cope up with the work environment. You should be able to get the learning capabilities, because every time in every project you must learn by yourself. So they will help you to adapt that characteristics in you. And the another thing is they always try to enhance the confidence in you, because if you can handle the project by yourself, by doing the research, by doing a lot of all the materials you can find in the internet, means it really helps you to boost your confidence.
So this is in Australia?
In Australia, that happens, because when I came here for the first time and when I joined my session in the university, at that time I felt like, oh, what kind of education is this? Because lecturer, I mean, they are not helping the students at all, because whatever I ask my fellow professors there, they always say, okay, you have to go and do some research. Always they have the straight, the answers.
What was the situation like in Nepal?
But in Nepal, like when you try to say like that kind of things to the students, they said, oh, the lecturer, he doesn't know anything, that sort of scenario. Because when you apply for the university as a role of the lecturers, you have to demonstrate your ability to teach to the students. So when you are appointed there as a lecturer, of course you know the knowledge that is required for teaching, okay? But back in Nepal, like what happens every time, you have to push the students. You have to give the handouts. Yes, you have to push them to motivate. You have to motivate them to complete their tutorials, assignments, those things.
Tell us about your experience in Nepal as a lecturer.
Actually, back in Nepal, when I was lecturer there, it's like I normally attend the university, and I need to go to the colleges, and then I have to start with the chapters.
Okay.
And I need to tell them like what sort of things we are going to study today, and I'm going to provide them some lectures there, some hands-out notes, and I tell them you have to do it correctly, and this is the hands-out, so you don't have to rely on all the materials. The exam questions will be from these handouts, so you have to just worry about how you are going to comprehend with those things. That's it. So that will really limit the ability to perform all the things, to the Nepalese students. So they have very good knowledge of that particular lectures only, not about how to implement those things in real life. So you can take some examples from some great persons in the world as well. I have given them a lot of examples of business tycoons, a lot of examples of the scientists, how they have worked to achieve their goals, and literally they in the class they really enjoyed those like motivational things, but when they came out from the class they forget everything, because there is no such things that motivates them to do and implement those things in their real life. And in the Nepalese education system, they only focus, they more focus in theoretical aspect of the life. And it's a very ironical thing, I can tell you. Like if I have given some sort of programming problems to the students, the whole class will copy the same programming problems to submit as a practical. So that sort of things had happened, and literally we encourage the students to apply the different methodologies and different techniques to solve those problems. So we need to do some kind of changes there to motivate students.
So you obviously chose to continue your career as a teacher as well. So you share your experience as a teaching experience in Nepal. So how is it different here in Australia?
In terms of the education system, there are vast difference in the Australian cultures, as I have mentioned. The curriculum which you are seeing here, like you have completed, that particular curriculum is developed by different panels of experts, like many educationists, the persons who has very good sound knowledge in that top particular subjects, psychologists, a lot of people, they engage there in the curriculum development first. And as I have told you, in your entire life, no one there to teach you every time. So in your entire life, in your 2 years or maybe in your 4 years, there must be somebody who will guide you to achieve your goals as a graduates. So in here, teacher always try to enhance you to develop the confidence, to develop the learning activities, to help you to achieve how you can comprehend and cope up with the different scenarios. That's why they gives you different types of assignments. So that assignment literally looks weird in the first time, because maybe some students, they are really well to perform 50% better than the actual assignment items content. And what happens now, you need to work with your fellow friends, or maybe you can go to the library, you can get the concept, you can abstract the knowledge there, and then you have to paraphrase those ideas in your word. Same type of situation happens in your daily life, because in your life you are not going to get the same type of problems and you are going to solve the same type of problem always. That is not the case. So you have to be ready for different situations. And if you have that confidence to cope up with the different situation, it means you are going to be successful in your field. So this education is preparing you not only for the content, and the materials. The university is preparing you to achieve those confidence, leadership, academic honesty or integrity as well, because that also helps you to attain the honesty and we can say integrity, especially in terms. So what happens? They teach you different things in the university. It's not only about the content. You can get the content from different online courses. You can get it from Udemy, you can get it from LinkedIn Learning, you can get it from internet. You can get plenty of content there. But the main thing is they are changing your behavior. That is changing your attitude. That is the great things.
Okay, so as you mentioned, university education is very important to to get a job. But on contrary, students are finding employment just completing a simple training course at a fraction of a cost. So what do you think about that?
Of course, thanks. Your question is really important at this time for most of the Nepalese students who are struggling here. In that perspective point of view, I can say that, like in university, you are learning something, let's say in the programming. Okay, I'm teaching right now Java programming, application development, and web programming. Yeah. So what happens in the university? We give them assignment, 3 levels of assignment. So they perform those assignment, and we award them marks. Okay, that is the one story of the university. Okay. And we check plagiarism, everything. Okay, and if the students is pretty fine with those things, then we award them good marks, maybe distinction, high distinctions. In contrary to that one, let's say the short courses that are available in the online industries, okay? What happens? You will get some kind of experience, some kind of knowledge from that particular short courses. But actually what happens in the long run?
Students are able to find jobs with those short courses than with a university degree.
Actually, that I'm trying to explain you in the further words. Okay. What happens in terms of the programming says there are many short courses students are doing and they are applying in all the university. I mean, in the job ready markets. What I'm trying to say, university actually prepares you for big jobs. Okay, that's really going to prepare you for the big jobs. As I have told you, that enhance you to develop the leadership qualities, team building, okay, that your interpersonal skills, okay, content delivery, those things are actually performed in the university, and that degree certificates really helps you acknowledge your ability. Okay, that helps you. That's like an identity, means what kind of effort you can generate and what you can do can be actually explained through that university degree. But doing the short courses, let's say some students, they do online courses like HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Okay, so they got those things. I really appreciate that things. But when you come into the higher positions, then what happens? You now need to have all the qualities as well. Let's say if you are going to build a multi-billion project for some companies, at that time you need to have interpersonal skills, you need to have team building, you need to have the ability to coordinate with all those groups with confidence, okay, and you also need to have higher knowledge on that particular fields. So those things can be achieved from the university's degree. And I'll give you one example. One of my fellow friends, he did short courses. He got the job in IT. He's really doing good in his IT field. But what happens in terms of the promotions, in terms of in the team lead roles, what happens? He always lacks the confidence. Whenever he got the chance to upgrade himself, I mean, whenever he got the chance to be a team leader, at that time he always mentioned those things to me, like I lack the confidence, because I know those things pretty well, but I lack the knowledge of like how to motivate my other employees in that particular organizations, and he know very well like those practical things. But in some high level, you also need to have some strong theoretical backgrounds. So that job ready programs really helps you in your initial stage, but at last university degree also counts.
But what I wanted to ask you is that the students here complete their course in university, they acquire master's degree in university, but they still have to do those courses, for 1 to 2 weeks from simple training programs at some fraction of a cost, and then they get a job. What should the university do to make a student job ready? I mean, why does the student need to have those kind of trainings or simple courses just to get a job, not just because he or she has a university degree? That's what I wanted to ask you.
Okay, so I have two perspective point of view in this case. In regards to the Nepalese students, actually, when they attend the university, they works in some perspective point of view. They only associate their degree with their assignments only, the assignment submissions. They actually don't push themselves. Okay, they don't realize those things when they arrive here. They always focus on the work. Because
they are really focused on completing the degree. Yeah.
Because their intention is not to get the job from that university degree. The reason is not to blame those students as well, because our socio-economic system is so complex that every parents who sends their their children here in Australia, they expect something from their children. So they need to support their family back in Nepal as well. Not in Nepal, like if you go and try to see all those kind of things, even you can find those kind of particular traditions or cultures with South Asian students, some other students as well. So actually they invest their time in work, not in the acquiring skills and knowledge. And you cannot say like that. University degrees never helps you to get a job. I got the job by the university degree. I haven't done any short courses. So it depends. It depends upon how students, they will take these kind of things. Okay, so I will give you one example. When I was doing my degree here, one of my friends from Norway, so actually the Australian government and the Norwegian government, they have a student exchange program. He came here for IT degree, so in that student exchange program, and literally I found him doing coding for 18 hours a day in the lab. 18 hours a day. So do you believe it? Because in that case, how many hours the Nepalese student, they actually perform that coding activity in their home? No, because we have very complicated lifestyle here, socio-economic lifestyle, because that is our backgrounds. So that's why we have very high struggle in terms of getting money to pay for the universities. We cannot blame those students, we cannot. But if they really apply those kind of skill and knowledge by themselves in universities program, of course they are going to get it, but that is not always fit for all the other students. Okay,
so you say it depends on the student, how they take the university degree, how they make it useful, how they interact with the teachers, how they make themselves job ready. But what about those students who, as you said, they are just completing a degree? Are universities focusing on those students? I mean, obviously you would know which students are more focused and which students aren't. So what are you doing for those students who aren't focused? Are you inspiring them or motivating them? Are universities doing that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, universities, they have those schemes. Yes, universities generally, they are also very aware of their rankings, the world rankings. And the world rankings accounts for many factors. They also have very attentions. I mean, they have, specifically we can say that there are many factors that determines the university's ranking. So to attain that particular high ranking, they create those programs to assist the students, and they actually tell the students, or they create some programs, those students who are critical, in universities, the lecturers, they identify the critical students. Like critical means those students may be having some trouble in gaining the knowledge what they are expected to complete. So university identify those students and they create some consultations with them, many consultation classes, many motivational classes as well. In my regards, Okay, in my regards, when I start any lectures in the class, first I start with the motivational kind of story. I start with that particular motivational story. I give them the example of Elon Musk. Okay, I give them the example of Alan Turing's. I give them the example of some sort of business tycoons. Okay, so when I start telling them the story of those great persons and minds, that really helps the students. Oh, if that can happen, then why can't we? So such kind of things I start telling them in the very first time when I start my lectures. And then when the students, they have some particular problems, then I try to talk to them, because learning is not only the one-way process. Nowadays learning, we assume and we actually practice. That one is the collaborative learnings.
So what about those students who doesn't seek help?
There are many factors. We cannot see from only one perspective point of view. So there are many factors. Some students might have some financial issues, some students might have some family issues, some student might have some socio-economical issues, socio factors. There are a lot of things. So
like you said before, some students are acquiring the degree, they might be talented, but because of those factors they are lacking, they are not focused. So maybe whatever factors that they are holding themselves, so they are remaining ignorant on this kind of field. So how do you help those students?
Actually, we tell them, we give them the ideas like how to cope up with those situations. Okay, so in the universities there are many departments, like student counseling departments. There are many other departments. First we consult, because the lecturer are the first persons in contact with the students. So we actually talk with them and what kind of problem they are facing. So based on the university's policies and guidelines, we send them those students in those particular departments. So and those departments will really help those students. So in my case, when the students bring some problems in front of me, then first I need to consult with them, because we are the first persons who can talk with the students and we can identify those problems, and based on the problems they are facing, we send them to the required departments. So that is the things that actually we are helping students in that way. And in terms of content, in terms of the skills, in terms of the knowledge, we are there always help students in the first priority. And if there are other issues, we also help them by giving them some ideas.
So do you seek them yourself? Like, do you reach them out? Because what if they doesn't reach out? Do you seek them out individually?
Actually, there are many, that depends upon the university's policies, because if you work under some universities, then you have to stick with the university's policies. Of course, every lecturers have the rights to talk with the students, okay? And what happens sometimes, like some students are out of reach. At that time, we send them emails, because emails is the best way to connect with the students, and we try to if we have received some emails from the students, then in my case, I try to reply them within 24 hours. Because it's a university policy. Some universities, they say if you are lecturers there, within 24 hours you need to send them an email reply if you are receiving some emails from them. Some universities, they say if you require some emails to send them, then of course you have to send the email to the student, as well as you have to do CC to the departments as well, so that we can see what is the progress with the specific problems. So that sort of things happen.
As a lecturer in a room full of students, you can pretty much figure out which one of your students are very focused and which one of the students are energetic and hoping to learn more, and which one of the students are just there for course completion. You can pretty much figure it out. So how do you help those students? I mean, they cannot be treated equally. You cannot motivate them equally, because they might be seeking it differently. So how do you help all of the students? I mean, how do you help those students who are not seeking, or who are just there for course completion, which you obviously would know when you are lecturing them? So how would you help them?
This one is the million-dollar questions, I reckon. The reason for this one is, yes, now I start with the statement, one single statement. when you work as a lecturer, you are working with maybe in a class, maybe if there are 30 students, 30 different mindsets. So doing a job as a lecturer is not as simple as we think. It's working with 30 to 40 different minds in a class. So it's really hard to work with 30 to 40 different mindsets in a class. Of course, we can identify those students who are actually focused, who is not focusing there. We can identify easily in a class. What actually we do, we create the collaborative learning environments. So nowadays what happens, the learning has changed a lot, learning process. So we create a collaborative learning environment. That means we engage all the students in the class in some activity so that they can equally participate. Yes? And then university has some peer assisted programs. Let's say some students, they might feel shy to talk with lecturers, okay, but they are pretty confident while talking with their friends. So we have to create those peer assisted programs, collaborative learnings program where we have to engage all the students in some activities. For example, in a class, if we organize some programming quiz, okay, and we expect all the students to participate in that. So in this way we can create those kind of, the learning process. So nowadays there are many techniques that we have, and we are doing a lot of research, some different learning techniques as well in the universities, and some programs, they really helps to organize different learning techniques. We enforce those techniques in the class and we see the results, how effective it is. So it's not about the single technique we are applying.
Okay.
Yes.
Teaching is a highly complex activity. It has been found that teachers who shows enthusiasm towards the course, materials and students can create more positive learning experience. But what do you think about those teachers who are just there present at the university for just course completion and who just monotonously read out slides? In a room full of students, not everybody can be aware of the topic, as we have already mentioned before. So what are your views on that?
Actually, there are different mindsets in a class, as I have told you. Yeah, I have seen some teachers, they are really reading the slides in the class. That happens. Yeah, I appreciate. Many students, they complain about like going through the slides by slides and just reading that slides, read aloud, just like read aloud. Yes, that actually doesn't help students to create the interest. And first of all, being a teacher or being a lecturer, you should be able to create interest to those students who are in the class in that particular topic. So first, your job is to make your students active, So when students become active, when you can create the interest on that. So particularly, if you see some university, not some university, all the universities, they have specific surveys, student survey. And that student survey really helps those lecturers or teachers, to teach students in an effective way, because the student survey really helps to identify who is doing great in the class. So that measure, that measure is really going to measure the quality of the lecturers in terms of delivery, in terms of the content and the knowledge, in terms of the communication skills, in terms of how effectively you have conducted all the practical assessment in the classes. So you cannot say like that, the teachers who are just reading the slides will be there forever. No, because university also have adapted those techniques, through the surveys. So the student, the lecturers who are actually focusing in the quality content delivery, who are very well focused in their career as a lecturer, they will be in the universities. But those who are not doing that one, I think
Universities are taking care of them by doing surveys from the students.
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, how you can measure the quality of the lecturers as well?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So what motivated you to become a teacher?
Just I have told you, like I always love to work with different mindsets.
Okay.
When I was in my school, I always think about the minds, like the great minds, and I have gone through a lot of novels when I was in my school, and I have a dream to be someone else who can really bring the lights in. Okay, who can bring the lights to those persons who really deserves or who really wants to get something. And when I started deciding which one is the best, then I think I must be a lecturer. And the major part of being a lecturer is by going to a lot of the biography of the great minds and the scientists, and they all worked in the universities. So that also inspired me a lot. And what happens, you cannot change the life of the people. Okay, you cannot change the life of the people by talking or by giving something, okay, or by donating something. You cannot change the life of the people. You can only change the life of the people if you can give them the right educations. And just right now, within these 10 years, I have thousands of students here in Australia, in US, in Europe, in Nepal. Now they are in that positions where they actually contribute towards the society.
Okay.
That really help. I mean, that really inspire you. I mean, that always motivates you because you have changed somebody else's life, you know. And now they are changing the society. Like some of my students, they actually now become the manager of banking sectors of Nepal. Someone is doing some developing works. Okay, someone is doing, I mean, scientific work. So what happens, education is really going to change in a positive way. So when I see the feedbacks from my students, sir, now I have completed my degree and I got the job in some sectors, and one of my students now, he is working in the Reserve Bank of Australia as well. So that really makes you very happy that your deeds that you have done to your students now actually you have seen those things in the real world. So that's really motivates me.
So what would you like to give a suggestion to those individuals who would want to pursue their career as a teacher?
It's very challenging roles because you have to work with different mindsets. And to work with different mindsets, now you have to change yourself in 20 to 30 different mindsets in a class. Some students are shy, so now you have to adapt some characteristics so that you can talk with those shy students as well. So I always try to convey my message to all the students or somebody who are interested in teaching. If you come in the field of this teaching, that means you are helping the individuals to achieve their goals. You are helping them to make them ready for the jobs, ready for the country. Okay, you are educating them, means you are changing the lives of those people, and that really helps to the country, for the humanity, for the entire world. So if you are really interested and if you are really willing to change the lives of the people, then this field is very important, and this field is very apprehending. I can say that this field is very promising. Like if you are going to do the job in some fields, you can have some pretty few number of people's life, but as being a teacher or lecturer, you can change the life of the community, for the humanity, for the entire world. So it's your choice, whatever you want. If you would like to take the challenges, you can come in this field, and of course that's really help you a lot. And I would like to give you one example as well. Like most of the people, they think I'm talking about Alan Turing. I think you haven't heard that particular scientist name. So have you heard about that?
Yeah, I've heard about Alan Turing.
Yeah.
Alan Turing is an English scientist who decrypted the German messaging in the Second World War. He designed an Enigma machine, and he is one of the most underrated individual. He is solely responsible for the world peace, I think. That's what I know about him.
Yeah, so I think you have correctly answered only 80%.
Okay.
Alan Turing, he designed the Turing machines.
Turing machine.
He hasn't designed that Enigma machine. Enigma machine is designed by Germans. So what I'm trying to say here, what is my message here is the simple one, not simple, okay? His one invention has helped to reduce the world war by 2 years.
Okay.
And within that 2 years, he saved millions of lives. One invention, okay? He has decrypted the German cipher, okay? And by doing that activities, he saved millions of lives in Second World War. Just like that, if you educate the people in the right way, then what happens? It will bring the peace. It will create the skilled manpower. It enhance the students' ability to perform their jobs. So teaching and education are interrelated, and this is the way we can transfer the knowledge from one generation to the another generation. So it is the way to transfer your knowledge. That's why I'm here in this field, transferring of the knowledge.
Wow. Actually, we're coming to the end of our program. Would you like to say some few words to our viewers?
Thank you very much for your invitations here. I really appreciate your time and your effort. And I also feel very happy here to express my views. And last but not the least, we are here as a Nepalese. We are doing very good nowadays in here. And I can say we are the first generation here. So typically we are doing a lot of struggles to find the jobs, and we have a lot of struggles in terms of getting the jobs or getting our own value. But we need to work on those fields where you are very skilled, and this is the land where you can access the world. So in here, I request all the Nepalese students to complete your degree by achieving the right skills that you are aimed to get it here, and you have to implement those skills to make our Nepalese diaspora very proud. So we are in that path, and if you really need any help, then of course please contact us. We are really help you in those regards. And of course we are aiming to build a better society, and we also need to develop our motherlands as well. So we should not forget these kind of things. Thank you, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Anchal, for sharing your time with us, and we wish you all the best for your successful endeavors.
Thank you.
Thank you. On that note, we're coming to the end of our tonight's episode. Stay influenced, take care, and please stay updated in our social media channels. Thank you for watching Everest TV.